What's up, party family? Welcome back to my channel. So today I have some Dollar Tree pool noodle spring and Easter DIYs. I'm so excited about these DIYs. Let me know your favorite one down in the comments. Mine is going to be the first one and then the very last one. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you do, make sure you give the video a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed yet to my YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe. I'm very close to hitting 1 million subscribers and I would love to do that. So make sure you subscribe if you like Dollar Tree type of content. With that being said, let's begin.
For our first project, you are going to pick up a laundry basket from Dollar Tree.
I want to make the basket look prettier, so I'm going to be using some ribbon to do that. You have two options here. You can weave the ribbon through the basket, or you can just glue it down. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to try gluing it to some of these pieces of plastic on this laundry basket, and I feel like I'm going to get more out of my ribbon doing it that way versus weaving, because I feel like weaving, I do waste some of the fabric. So I'm trying to get as much as I can out of the pieces that I have. I'm using different ribbons here. I want different textures, even though they are all burlap that I'm using in different patterns. This is when our pool noodle is gonna come into play. What you'll do is just bend the pool noodle and place it inside of your basket. Now you could just leave it like this, but I wanna secure it in place. So to do that, I'm gonna be using zip ties. All you gotta do is take your zip tie, wrap it around the pool noodle, then feed it through the laundry basket, and then tie it into place. And this will secure the piece of foam to your basket. With the zip ties there, the pool noodle is secure and you can just pick it right up. So I have leftover ribbon and I'm gonna try to wrap that around the pool noodle. I don't know if I'm gonna get every single crevice of this pool noodle. I don't know if I have enough or not, but we are gonna attempt it. I got this wired edge ribbon from Dollar Tree and I'm gonna go ahead and make a big bow to go at the top. I'm not good at making bows. I've said this so many times, so don't look to me to teach you how to do that. I just kind of do whatever. I don't even know what the heck I'm doing half the time. You're not going to put something that's big and substantial and it's going to stick out inside of here. You want to dummy up the bottom. I'm putting a towel in here. I mean, you could use whatever you want, but to buy a bunch of like shred from Dollar Tree doesn't make sense. It's going to cost you like a lot of money to fill this up. So just dummy it with something you might have on hand. I have these 3 bunnies that I got from Dollar Tree and I did this cute little design on it. If you're interested how I did this, head on over to my TikTok. I'll have that uploaded there. But that's what I'm going to place inside of my basket. And there you have a jumbo Easter basket using the Dollar Tree pool noodles as the handle. I think this is absolutely adorable and you can use this as an actual Easter basket if you like, and kids would love it because it's a jumbo Easter basket. And again, if you're interested on how I did this Easter bunny DIY, check out my TikTok. It'll be in the description box below. For our next DIY, of course, we need pool noodles, and I'm going to be using the green pool noodles this time. I'm also going to be using this multi-purpose wire that I got at Home Depot. If you watch my pool noodle DIYs, the past 2 I've uploaded, I have used this wire and it's still the same roll. You get a lot of bang for your buck. It's 100 feet. And this is great for molding the pool noodle. So what you'll end up doing is you'll take your wire and you are going to feed it through your pool noodle. So you'll feed this wire through and you want to make sure there's like a few inches popping out, and then make a mental note of where the wire ends on the other side. What you'll do is take the pool noodle out and then bend the wire so you have kind of like a thicker piece, and then you're going to cut that. Now you're going to feed your wire that is folded in half through your pool noodle. The reason we folded the wire was to kind of make it thicker so this is easier to mold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a twirly kind of design so that it looks like a topiary. So I'm just bending it around. I got this planner from Dollar Tree. What you'll do now is get some styrofoam from Dollar Tree and you are going to glue it to the bottom of your planter. What you'll do is you're going to push your wire inside of the styrofoam. That's why I said to leave some extra wire so that you can push it into the styrofoam. Be aware, things are going to get a little messy here. However, you're going to start gluing on some floral moss from Dollar Tree. So you just glue it to your pool noodle. Okay, I'll say this much. Hot glue is kind of messy to work with when it comes to this, but the thing is, it dries instantly, you know what I mean? Instead of having to wait for your other glue to dry, and then not just that, using like a school glue, it kind of will just keep sliding right off as you wait for it to dry.
After gluing down all of my moss, I decided to glue on some eggs from Hobby Lobby. Originally, these were $2.99, but I got them for 40% off. And once I have those glued down, I decided to add this bunny butt pick. I think this pairs so well with this project. And there you have this Easter topiary that I think is beautiful, and you can make this bigger if you like.
Okay, for our next project, we are gonna take our pool noodle and we're gonna make a circle shape. And then once I have that done, I'm gonna take some white duct tape that I got from Dollar Tree and I am going to tape up the ends. Now I'm gonna take another pool noodle. I'm going to make a small little circle shape. So I'm gonna have to cut off some of the pool noodle to do that. I'm gonna make it look like a circle, and though my two ends don't meet up perfectly, that's okay. I'm gonna zip tie these two pieces together. Since I got these zip ties at Dollar Tree and they're not long enough, I just feed one zip tie through the other, and then I got a longer zip tie. Now I'm gonna take a piece of foam board and I am going to cut two bunny shaped ears. Now I'm gonna make some slices in the smaller circle so that I can feed my foam board through. I'm giving you guys options here. Dollar Tree has these eggs and they're 6 in a pack. They're $1.25 now. About every 2 inches, you're gonna use about 3 eggs. So I don't know how many of these containers you're gonna need. Or you can go to Hobby Lobby, get egg garland. Regular price $8. You wait till it's half off. I purchased these last year at Hobby Lobby. They carry them every year. And you can use this instead, and you just get a lot more bang for your buck doing it this way.
I ran out of the egg garland, so I decided to use some eggs I also purchased at Hobby Lobby. And I just glue these wherever I needed some more of the pool noodle to be covered. You can use just a few eggs, as many as you like. It's all up to you. I wanted to define my bunny ears, so I purchased this pack of felt sheets from Dollar Tree. I went ahead and cut out some pieces out of the pink felt, and I glued that down onto my foam. I wanted to add some nautical rope to this, and this I purchased from Dollar Tree, and I just added kind of like a border to define my wreath a little more. Remember, you don't have to use everything that I use. You can use something different like floral pieces, pieces of wood. Do what suits your budget and what suits your style. That's how you make a jumbo bunny wreath using the Dollar Tree pool noodles. For our next DIY, I want to credit Carl I. Elizabeth, who credited Down Mulberry Lane on TikTok, and I'll link both of them down below. This is a project I've seen done before, and I recently saw it on Instagram. But one of my viewers, shout out to Nancy, tagged me in Carly's video, and it really inspired me to make a rainbow of my own, specifically for that little man you hear in the background. So from Dollar Tree, you're going to pick up some pool noodles, and I recommend not doing more than 4 pool noodles unless you're going to double up the pool noodles. It's nice to have some help on hand, and what you want to do is mark out the pool noodle where you might have to cut some excess off. So I had my husband hold the pool noodles in a rainbow shape, and I made a mark wherever I wanted to cut off any excess pool noodle. Once I had the markings cut, I went ahead and just used a kitchen knife, because that's what I have on hand, to cut down the pool noodle. Next up, you're going to need some yarn. Dollar Tree carries yarn, but it's very rare to find chunky yarn, and I recommend going with chunky yarn or just anything thicker than the Dollar Tree stuff, because you are going to be wrapping this around your pool noodle, and when you're using that very thin yarn, it takes a very long time to do this. So if you're somebody who suffers with arthritis or just has a hard time, maybe you have carpal tunnel, this won't be the project for you if you're wrapping around constantly those small pieces. So you know what? I went to Hobby Lobby. I purchased the yarn there. I get more bang for my buck going there anyways. It's just so much easier to do when you're using thicker yarn. So as you wrap it around your pool noodle, you want to take breaks to add some hot glue. You don't have to add hot glue the entire time, just here and there whenever you see that the yarn is getting a little too loose. Like I said, extra hands for this project is awesome. You don't necessarily need extra hands, it's just helpful and doesn't take as long. I found one of the easiest ways to wrap the yarn around the pool noodle was by more so moving the pool noodle around versus the yarn. So you just hold the yarn in your hand and twist the pool noodle instead, and it's easier to do it that way. I'm going to be feeding wire through my pool noodles to help hold the shape of the pool noodles. Now you can rely on just hot glue to do this, but it gets a little tricky because sometimes the hot glue melts the foam too much, sometimes it's just not strong enough to keep the shape. I recommend using the wire if you can use the wire. Once I have them bent into kind of a decent enough shape, I go in with zip ties and I tie the ends of the pool noodles together so that I can start gluing my pieces of pool noodle together. So I'm still gluing my pool noodles together. The difference is I have the wire inside of the pool noodle to help keep that form. If I didn't have the wire, it's easy for the pool noodles to just kind of bend out of shape and go back to a more straight pool noodle. Now I messed up and I still didn't cut enough foam board off of the ends of my rainbow. So to kind of cover it, make it all look a little bit more even, I made some tassels. The tassels I made are with Dollar Tree yarn. So it was actually the chunkiest yarn I found at Dollar Tree, and it was only in the white color. So I made some tassels just by wrapping some yarn together and then tying it at the top, then cutting any pieces that are still looped together at the bottom. I made a bunch of these and then I glued them down at the bottom of the rainbow so that it looks more uniform. Now I purchased this wood bead garland, but it's actually called wood bead ribbon from Hobby Lobby. Half off, it was $3. And I am placing that between my foam pieces, and this is what really inspired me from Carly. When I saw her do it with the wood beads, I hadn't seen it done like that before. I've only seen it with yarn around the pool noodle, and I was like, oh, I really want to do it. I love the way that the wood beads pop between the yarn. I love the way that this turned out. It'd be so great in a nursery. I made this for Cooper. Cooper loves rainbows.
What's that?
Rainbow.
Obviously, he can't play with this one, but he can look at it, and when he sees it, he's always like, rainbow. It's the cutest thing.
I want to take a moment right now to thank our sponsor for this video, Skillshare.
Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for anyone who loves learning and wants to explore their creativity and learn new skills. Invest in yourself and your personal growth. They have courses from photography, videography, and illustration to graphic design and more. You can find classes that will match your goals and interests taught by experts. This year, I decided I wanted to improve more on my video editing skills. I really enjoyed this Final Cut Pro X color correction for beginners class taught by Benjamin Halsell. Sometimes when I film, I struggle with natural light, especially during sunset. As you can see, this footage of the rainbow I was making before I color corrected it was very orange. With my new skills I learned on Skillshare from Benjamin, I was able to color correct my footage and make it more true to life. Just look at the before and after. I love these new skills I learned in this class. I love learning things at my own pace. If you would like to try Skillshare for yourself, the membership is less than $10 a month. And right now, the first 1,000 people to click the link below or use my code YTBargainBethanyMUN1 will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring this video.
For our next project, you're going to take your pool noodle and you are going to bend it in half. Now, I would use orange pool noodles for this, but I ran out of those, so I'm going to use this green one. We're going to make some jumbo carrots. Now I'm going to take another pool noodle and I'm just going to cut a piece that's going to be at the top of this so that I can make the top of the carrot wider. Now I'm going to take my duct tape and tape this piece of pool noodle to the bigger piece of pool noodle. I don't worry too much about making the duct tape not bunch up like this just because it ends up getting covered anyway, so that doesn't bug me. I want this to taper at the bottom of the carrot, so to get it to hold like that, I'm going to take my duct tape and just get it to hold just by tightening it down there with my duct tape. I'm going to take more pool noodle and cut it so that it can go in the center right here because I'm going to end up adding yarn and I need something for the yarn to stay on top of. So I'm just going to cut this piece off.
Now you're going to get some yarn and start wrapping it around your carrot form. Again, I recommend getting yarn that's thicker just because it's easier to wrap. It doesn't take as long to wrap. Especially at the bottom, you want to use hot glue to get your yarn to stay in place because of how rounded it is down there. If you don't have any hot glue on hand, the yarn's just going to keep sliding off real easily.
The easiest way to wrap the yarn around the pool noodle is mainly by moving the pool noodle around versus the yarn. So I hold the pool noodle in one hand and then I just make like this circular motion with the pool noodle, and this is the easiest way to do it versus wrapping the yarn itself around the pool noodle. Now I'm gonna take more pool noodles and I'm gonna slice it down the middle, and I am just going to start making some carrot leaves.
I just glued the foam board pieces directly on top of my carrot. You can wrap yarn around these pieces if you want to. I just was so over wrapping yarn at this point. I was like, I'm gluing down the foam pieces just the way they are, and I still think they came out gorgeous. And as you can tell, I used the same yarn as I did when I did the rainbow. I had so much yarn left over, and I still have a bunch left over. This next project is more of a hack than anything. You can use the Dollar Tree pool noodles as your foam for floral picks. Now, lots of times if you're using fake floral pieces and a pot that's very shallow, it's hard to get them to stand up straight, or even if you're using something that's not shallow, it's nice to have some foam at the bottom so that you can place these picks exactly where you want them to be and them not like leaning over because there's nothing holding it straight up. So what you can do is you can cut pieces of pool noodle down and then glue that to whatever it is you want to stick them inside of. In this case, I'm using this planter that I got from Dollar Tree, and you can see I was able to cover the entire planter with my pool noodle. If I wanted to use the styrofoam from Dollar Tree, I would need at least 3 pieces to get in every single planter, or I guess corner in this planter. It's like one planter, a 3-in-1, whatever you want to call it. So after I have all my foam pieces in, I then just start to add my picks, and you can see I added quite a bit of picks, and I still had so much more space in that foam to put more picks. I just didn't add more. So I added grass pieces that I got from Dollar Tree. I also added some pieces that had eggs on top of them, and the eggs, it was just like a pick with green eggs, a pick with pink eggs. I ended up taking eggs off of the pieces and mixing them around. That way I had color all over instead of just pink right here, yellow right here, blue right there. And that's how you get so much more bang for your buck using the Dollar Tree pool noodle foam versus the styrofoam pieces from Dollar Tree. Like I said, I had to remember to do it more often because I don't do it often enough. And I would definitely cover up the bottom of that with stones or something like that. So that is it for this tutorial. I hope you guys learned something new. Again, thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. I will see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.